On that day I will raise up the fallen hut of David. When reading this promise of restoration from Amos in our first reading, the word here translated as hut caught my eye. You see, the Hebrew word here is sukkot, sometimes translated as tabernacle or dwelling place. It's the word used for the festival of booths or tabernacles prescribed in Leviticus 23, a feast which recalls the years Israel spent living in booths or temporary dwellings in the desert during the Exodus. The word evokes temporariness or even portability. This is interesting because it's a deliberately chosen word that's different than the word bayith, or house, which is more typically associated with David and the monarchy in Hebrew scriptures, and even has more of a permanent structure connotation. Theologically, the use of this term connects the covenant with David and the covenant with Moses at Sinai, and both are defining events of the past for Amos and his audience. Now, as an important note, as scriptures later translated into Latin, we wind up with the term tabernacle as a translation of sukkot, which we use in a special way to highlight the dwelling place of Christ truly present in the Eucharist in our churches. We use it deliberately to make that same connection to God's covenantal relationship with Israel, now transformed into the new covenant in Christ. Amos here is making a deliberate choice of words that not only connects the covenantal promises God has made with Moses and David, but also highlights the fragility and the tenuousness of the great kingdom of Israel, which by his time has already split into the northern and southern kingdoms of Israel and Judah, respectively. It can even be pointing to Amos's present and to the coming calamity of the downfall of the northern kingdom as a time of a new exodus. This fragility points to the fact that the strength comes from God and not from the kings of Israel. When God makes a hut or a dwelling, it stands much stronger than any human institution because it's backed by God's covenantal promise. It's God's endurance that is reliable, not our own. So let us today reflect upon and entrust ourselves to God's promise, which stands strong even amidst the tenuousness and the fragility of our lives.